when we talk about how many businesses are exporting something to one system via Excel to another. And a lot of times, like, we're delivering reports the wrong way because we don't have like unified processes. The need by dates in the system are often wrong, and the data is scattered across modules. And we hear that a lot, with Oracle clients, because the biggest part of these bigger software companies have been they acquired all of these different pieces of industry specific software and tried to like duct tape them together. So sometimes they don't work well together. And that happens in bigger environments. And so let's see, the need by dates in the system are often wrong, and the data is scattered across modules. So we're exporting a lot to Excel, and then do you import it into a different system, or who's configuring that? Is that Oracle, or is that your internal engineers? We might see if we can get to the bottom of it. Wrong as in it's not in the same format. Good question. Excellent question. We worked with I can't see that. For the end that uses to view in there and then approve changes, sent it back to data flow, used update, BigQuery, and GitHub. Cool. That's definitely, looks like you got your ducks in a row here, Laura. You'll have to let us know how it goes from a security perspective, definitely, if you don't mind. I do lives every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that's a big piece of people bringing back what their findings are to just share with the class. We do analysis in Excel. The system was stood up by an integrator 3 years ago and is maintained by internal IT. So that's totally common. And I'll message because it sucks with character limits. I know, it really does. We've got a lot to talk about here, TikTok. And so when we say maintained by internal IT, I assume that they don't have the ability to build it out or customize it in any way, shape, or form, which would make a lot of sense with an Oracle environment. And that is so hard and so inefficient, really, right? And that integrator, I would love to know like what the relationship is with them still, of being able to say like, hey man, I'm doing all of these things, I'm exporting, can you help me figure this out? The thing we don't need to do, right? And just a cautionary story on that is when we have the ability to customize something, we need to own that IP, right? We need to own that code, not the integrator, because if the integrator owns our customization, then we don't have the ability to get out of that contract without breaking our system, right? Red team here. Reporting has a big problem. Users want to use big monolithic extracts to mine data, right? And they still quite literally mine it manually. And that is a big challenge. And I think that's a big contractual piece too, that people are like, oh no, I would assume that big vendors are going to make sure that my reporting is correct. That's not the right assumption. You're responsible for your own reporting, even if it's not valuable to you. So when we're doing testing, when we're going into these contracts, when you're doing demos even, make sure you understand what you need from a reporting requirements specifically. Such good stuff here. What Oracle? The first time I saw Siebel, which was, we don't say that word here, no, which was a CRM, the tables and views behind Spiderweb. Yeah, Siebel she's an oldie, right? But many people still use Siebel, right? Especially for things like sales tracking and all kinds of different pieces. They haven't quite gotten out of that, again, because they're an SAP shop, right? Yes, there's a huge issue there that has not been addressed. Reporting should start with the answer and drill down to the detail. Love that. Perfect. And also when we're using, because we were talking about the business intelligence, especially from a municipality, on top of those layers, like the BI fabrics, then we need to know, like, are we all using the same numbers, right? Is the data one single source of truth? Or do we have different reporting in finance versus production versus, the executive team or something like that, so that we're all looking at different numbers? Then it doesn't really matter what BI we're looking at, right? So that piece of it is not something that we need to, have to figure out without the vendor helping us. So, all right, my friends, thank you for the 10,000 likes. You guys are, but SaaS has this fallacy of self-reporting, self-service reporting. It never works, right? And a lot of times, like what we've seen is they've tried to automate out of customer service, right? So we can't reach customer service. It's outside of hours. We don't have the ability to do that. We don't have a high enough license to talk to someone, right? We're going down medallion architecture, and the gold is really the product level. So we use the same number. I think that's great, right? As long as it works for you, right? And that's the biggest piece of all of those things, no matter what you're going to do as far as, process evaluation, that really has to, or architectural approach. That's a big piece of understanding what's best for you. It's not about what the vendor wants to sell you. It's about what's best for your business to be healthy.